कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवा भद्रम् पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्ताक्षो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ओम्.
So we are continuing our session. So today's session will be the last one in this series, hopefully, and hopefully we may continue this program sometime in future as a continuation of this. So, okay, I think it's clear now. So there is an objection. Katham punaha antaprajñatvadinam atmani gubbhimananam vijjadu sarpadivat pradishedhat asattum gammyate iti. So the opposition is with regard to the metaphor, the analogy used here. See, it is obvious that when you bring light, you understand it is not sarpa, it is not snake, it is statue. And immediately you get a clear understanding. But how do you apply that analogy in the context of the Vishwatajas Prajna? It doesn't apply very well, that's the idea behind. Now, in answer to this, Bhashyakara says, Nyasurupa Abhiseshe Api. Nyasurupa means Bodhasurupa, means a seer, trusted. So you may find that these seeing objects in waking, dream and deep sleep objects change. You don't see these objects in the same manner in the three states of waking, dream and dreamless sleep, so deep sleep stage. But at the same time, the seer, the witness, drashta, will always remain the same. If it were not so, then we won't be able to have any recollection of whatever dream we may have. When we wake up, we may not clearly remember what we dreamt, what dreams we had, but we certainly will keep remembering our dream for a short time after waking up. And also sometimes even after several days, even after years, you may remember some dreams that you may have had which had some decisive influence or effect in your life. So that means there is somebody who is present in both dream and also waking state. And that somebody is the same seer, the same drashta. And that drashta, that bodhasurupa, that awareness is unchanging, the same. At the same time, the seeing objects, the objects that the experiences keep changing from waking to dream to deep sleep states. The transition, the difference between dream and dreamless sleep, that is deep sleep stages. In deep sleep, you are experiencing, but you are not aware of the fact that you are experiencing at the time of deep sleep, but you become aware of this after coming out of deep sleep when you wake up. So this is the counter argument, the answer. Now I want to mention to you about something the relevance of these arguments. And this is a very, very important thing which I want to mention to you in this context. You know, the philosophy of Mandukya Karya, if you read without the interpretation of Shankaracharya, that philosophy can sound to be very iconoclastic, it could look very anarchist, and also it can closely resemble Vijnanavada. When I say Vijnanavada, you should remember Vijnanavada is a school of later Buddhism, went through two phases. The earlier Vijnanavada called Alaya Vijnanavada, belonging to the time of the earlier works like Lingavatara Sutras and so on. And the later Vijnanavada school is called Pravritti Vijnanavada, belonged to Dignaga. Dignaga was the most prominent teacher of that. And he was also the exponent of what you call middle Nyaya, Madhyama Nyaya. Nyaya philosophy, logic, Indian logic went through three phases. Gautama's earliest school, Dignaga's Madhyama school, and later Navya Nyaya. So, what I mean to say, Gauriga closely resembles Vijnanavada, but there are of course very clear-cut differences which Gaudapada himself emphasizes. So the point to remember is, if we don't read it in the context of this analysis, Gaudapada's philosophy, Gauriga itself can sound to be it can become some kind of a conceptual idealism. It means just a journey in the world of ideas. But in the Bhashya you find, Bhashyakara reminds you again and again that it is Turiya Jnanam is an anubhuti. And that is a very important thing. Bhashyakara talks about the limitation of words and language in expressing the highest ideas, which are really experiences. So idea, there is a difference between idea or a concept and experience. It's very important. You have to travel some distance when you move from idea or concept to experience. The problem with Gaudapada Gauriga's books or Yoga Vasishtha or Gaudapada's books minus Sangara Bhashya, I mean to say, or Yoga Vasishtha. So many of the new ideas floating around in modern world, some of them acknowledging that they got it from Vedanta, some of them without acknowledging. For example, everything is a mind. You can go beyond mind. Mind can be transcended. All these ideas, they are all little fragments taken from either Gaudapada or Yoga Vasishtha. But they themselves are just ideas which may be very attractive. Actually, suppose somebody tells us, you don't have to do anything, everything's in your mind. You think that you are Brahman and you become Brahman. We don't become Brahman because we think that we are Brahman. We can read, philosophize, argue, be convinced of the ideas. That is certainly very helpful, that serves a definite purpose, that makes us ready for eventual experience, but that is only concept. And a concept is far away from experience. So, this is a very important point. That's why Bhashya is very important. That's why these discussions make things very clear. See, for example, in this context, the opponent is asking the question. And a very logical question is asking. So, he says that the serpent rope analogy or rope serpent analogy is obvious. You bring light, you understand it is not a snake, it is a rope. Perfectly clear. But how do we understand that we are not Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna, etc.? We are Turiya. Because Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna, we are not visible. At least when you look at the rope and you mistake for a snake, that snake as an entity is a Pratibhasya Satta. Not in the rope, but it is somewhere there in the forest. You have seen that snake. In the zoo you can see. So you are mistaking a rope for something that you have really seen and experienced. But Vishwa is a Prajna, Turiya, only we have not experienced till now. So how do you use the same kind of analogy or metaphor? And in answer to this, Bhashyakara says, Sushupti Vibhijati Vijay. In fact, that is the question. Suppose you say the opponent asking the question. Suppose we say in Sushupti also there is Vibhijara, there is change. You said that in Sushupti, Jagrat, Swapna, there is one unchanging seer, experiencer, perceiver. But now we say no. In Sushupti, the seer is not there because seer is not seeing, not experiencing anything in Sushupti, in deep sleep. They are experiencing in dream and waking stage, but that seer, that drashta, that experiencer is not aware of anything in dream. So there is a difference, Vibhijara. That's no in answer. That is Sushupti Abhivyaritvas Asiddhim Sankati Na Tatra Na Sushuptasya Anubhayamanatva. So Sushupti, the man who is in Sushupti, he also has this experience. But that experience, he connects with that experience that he already experienced in Sushupti only when he comes out of Sushupti, not within Sushupti. So that's the point. That's why Sushuptasya Anubhayamanata, she is experiencing Aham Sukham Apsapsam. I had a wonderful sleep. That's how you agree. In fact, it is said that the intense restfulness that you experience in deep sleep, in Sushupti, no one can explain. But its absence you can feel. People can literally go crazy if they don't get really good sleep for a number of days consecutively. It can create abnormality, it can create delusions, it can create the triple delusions, like delusions of grandeur, delusions of persecution, delusions of reference. It's part of schizophrenic problems. This can happen if a patient doesn't have deep, restful sleep for a number of days consecutively. It can lead to delusional problems. It can lead to many kinds of delusions about false thoughts, false identities, illusions. It can have something, or it can be visual hallucinations. So this idea. So that's why everyone experiences something in sleep, but that experience is not felt or experienced in sleep when you are in deep sleep, but you feel it when you come out of it. This idea behind. Nahi vijñātuhu vijñāteke vipariloko vidyate. That means nahi vijñātuhu, vijñāta, vijñātuhu means the vijñātuhu means the bodha without nanattu. That is vijñāta. Here vijñāti, vijñāteke, vijñāti means his awareness. That is his awareness. That awareness never ceases to exist. That awareness is never lost. Vijñātu, vijñātehi, vivilogonu vidyate, etc. Now, the next paragraph is a description of the mantra itself. That is the seventh mantra. Ata eva adrishyam yasma adrishyam tasmat avyavakayam. So this turiya is not, it cannot be understood, cannot be perceived through five jnanendriyas. It is of the nature of knowledge, but it cannot be perceived by any of the pancha jnanendriyas. It is also beyond any kind of vachyartham. So we can remember that, again you have to remember the earlier one. Vijñāti is there, vijñāta is there. Vijñāti is the awareness, the bodha. And vijñāta is that Atman, the Turiya, without any Nanatva Bodha. So this Turiya is Adrishtam, Adrishyam. Adrishtam means Adrishtam. That means it is, but it is not Ajneyam. It is certainly not perceived by the five senses and mind, but it is certainly not unknowable, because it is our own true nature. Yasmat adrishyam tasmat avyavakaryam. You cannot have any kind of vyavahara, you cannot talk about it, you cannot explain it. What it means is, you cannot explain it through vachyartha, the literal interpretation. You cannot really say this is Turiya as you say this is a glass or this is a book or this is a table. Like that you cannot clearly talk about, or you just think about Turiya. Because normally when you use pada, shabda, when you analyze a shabda word, pada padartha sambandha. When you use the word, meaning pada and its connection is a relationship with what it implies. The word table and its relationship with the real thing, the table. So you walk artha sambandha, word and what it implies, the relationship between these two. That is called vachyartha, means literal interpretation. Lakshyartha means the meaning that you eventually understand as a result of analysis, mananam. What is mananam? Mananam is sudarthasya chintanam. I mean, you focus with intense concentration on the meaning of the word that you hear, that you read, that you connect with. That is called mananam. Intense concentration on the meaning and the essence of what we hear or what we read, it is called mananam. As a result of this, you understand a literal interpretation, vachyartha, may not be sufficient, so you should go for the implied meaning called lakshyartha. This idea behind it. So, Turiya cannot be understood in terms of vachyartha, literal meaning, but you can get an idea of it through lakshyartha. And the text will give you examples. For example, lakshyartha. The famous one in Janaka Yajnavalkya Sambhada in Brihadaranyaka, very famous. Yajnavalkya was a great philosopher. Janaka was a philosopher king in the court of Mithila. So there, talking about the highest transcendental experience, then Yajnavalkya says, it is Janaka, Atra pida pida bhavati, mata amata, loka aloka, deva adeva, veda aveda. Actually, the veda aveda bhavati, it has got a great significance for any student of comparative religion or comparative philosophy, because these books become irrelevant. That should be the only possible understanding. Why Vedas become non-Vedas? Because in Vedanta, even this Upanishad that we are discussing right now is not the ultimate thing. The sanctity and sacredness that we attach to a book or scripture or a canonical work is secondary. The primary thing is the experience that you derive, that you obtain as a result of practicing the disciplines expounded in that book. That is ultimate goal. So when you experience that transcendental knowledge, that is Vijnanam, then what happens? Vedas are non-Vedas. Then you transcend human relations. You don't reject it, but you transcend it. Pida pida bhavati, mata amata bhavati, loka loka bhavati, deva deva bhavati, veda veda bhavati. Now you can read this literal translation of many of these statements. Literal translation, simple translation, terribly misleading. You say when you get Brahmajnanam, then no Vedas are worthless. Father, mother, all these relations become totally meaningless. That is precisely not the implication here. What it means is, you transcend all these empirical relationships. You don't reject them, you don't negate them, you transcend them. The problem with modern intellectual adventurers is, they want to put in very simple, bombastic language of slogans. You say you are Brahman, you are Brahman. So that is the problem of trying to understand this without the help of Shankaracharya's Bhashya. That's an important thing to remember. Very, very important thing to remember. And the coming statements in the same paragraph are even more complicated unless you study in the light of Shankaracharya's works. Agraham karmendriyehi. I mean, it cannot be handled with senses of action. You cannot catch it with your hands and so on. You cannot speculate, you cannot describe, you cannot try to understand it with the help of five senses of perception. You cannot handle it with the help of, with your sense of action. Atayava achintyam. Alakshanam alingamityad. Alakshanam. It doesn't have a lakshana, I mean, it doesn't have an external signs. Alakshanam ityuktam satyam jnanam anandam idi lakshanogalam bhavan idi asangya ityaga, etc. Anandagiri especially took care of this statement. So Anandagiri says, Alakshanam ityuktam satyam jnanam anandam idi lakshanogalam bhavan idi asangya. So Satyam Jnanam Anandam Brahma, there is Surupa Lakshana of Brahman. So the Surupa Lakshana in Brahman is only as far as words can go towards explaining what words cannot explain. That's the idea behind. So if somebody tells you that Turiya cannot be explained, then you may say that Satyam Jnanam Anandam Brahma is the Surupa Lakshana Sutra Bhashya means way. It's only an approximation. Actually, because it cannot be explained, it cannot be described or defined, how do you make it clear? By stopping where you go beyond the barrier of words. That's why Sarva Upanishadam, Tasya Uparama, with all Upanishads retire after using all possible words. Finally, the Upanishad wants to tell you it is beyond words, so the Upanishad retire. And words come from silence, and then words end in silence. Because words come from infinity. And we use words for different epistemological tools. And then finally we transcend that realm, the region, and it's called a dead silence. That's it. So, Anandagiri makes it clear. So, Turiya is the adhara of actually all knowledge, everything. Alakshanam nalingamityad. Without any kind of external lakshana or linga, you cannot have anumana. See, you get a lakshana, you say, at a distance you see smoke on the top of a mountain. So you do anumana prakriya, means inference, and you assume, you infer that maybe there is a fire raging in the high mountains because you see the smoke coming from it. So smoke is a lakshana, is a linka. From that you try to assume the possibility of fire in the mountains. So like that, this Turiya has no lakshana or anything. So that's one thing. Therefore, you cannot even speculate, you cannot even think about it. Atayava avyapatesyam. You cannot have any speculation or any attempt to explain this avyapatesyam. Means you cannot even use any kind of language speculation or anything when you talk about Turiya. Avyapadeshim Sabdehi. That means, already we mentioned, it is beyond the Panchasabda Pravati, etc. So it is Avyapadeshim. In fact, that is also this Janaka Yajnamika Samvada statement also is an example of the Avyapadeshittu, Avyapadesh of Turiya, the Veda Bhavati, etc. Idea behind. So, another point is, when Upanishad texts want to make you understand that what the Upanishads are trying to explain is beyond words, then Upanishads may use words which are apparently contradictory. And then, there is an implication that it's beyond words. If words can you explain anything, then you should use either in a positive or negative. Na antaprakyam, na bhishprakyam, na bheda-prakyam. What does it mean? It cannot be called antaprajna, bhishprajna, or bheda-prakyam. It cannot be called either Jagrat, Vishwa or Taijasa, or combination of both. It means, the implication is, it is beyond words. So, the apparent contradiction in the usage of words beyond the technique used by Shankaracharya. You find that Mr. Eckhart in some places, he talks about, for example, God cannot even be defined as the Father in heaven, Holy Ghost, or anything like that. Even an attempt to explain God is a kind of contradiction. Of course, you can find echoes of Advaita, because a great spiritual seeker may have the same experience independent of, not that Eckhart borrowed things from Shankaracharya, no, there is no way to put it that way. But the point is, a true spiritual seeker living anywhere in the world can independently reach that experience, but the language that he uses, the vocabulary that he uses may be different. Sometimes it may not be sufficient. In India, they were doing this for 8,000 years. There is so much of language and vocabulary. But great spiritual teachers in the tradition, they also try to explain this in their own vocabulary language. And now, so Avyapadesham Sabdehi Ekatma Pratyasaram Jagradi Sthaneshu Eva Ayamatma Idi Abhivyarya Pratyeka Tena Anusarani. This is a very important thing. Ekatma Pratyasaram. Pratyaya means bodha. So in word, when we use the word I, we use the word aham. There is, of course, an apparent meaning that you associate with that, I. But behind this I, behind this aham, there is a bodha. You detach bodha from the aham, the verbal dimension. That is Turiya. So behind aham, I am the one who is experiencing this Jagrat experiences, dream objects, and also this intense restfulness in deep sleep. It is I. So this is aham shabda. Now you have to go even beyond this aham shabda dimension. And you have to focus on the bodha, the awareness dimension of aham. That is ekatma pratyaya. That is one pratyaya, one ekatma pratyaya. But ekatma pratyaya, that bodha, our Surupa bodha, which is behind the aham, I, that is something that you cannot put in words. So aham word is only a remote, a distant expression trying to expound what is behind that aham sabda. What is behind aham sabda? The real I. That cannot be explained in words. That you should follow. And this is actually the path followed by Ramana Maharshi. So Ramana Maharshi puts the word, I, who am I, that question. That can be something like a very wonderful thing to follow, and many people are excited, oh, this is very interesting. Actually, it is only small little fragment, a mustard seed from Shankara Bhashya. What Ramana Maharshi said is nothing but a little bit, a mustard fragment taken from this Ekāpna Pratyesāram. That's why Ateva Avyapadesham Sabdehi Pusta. Ekāpna Pratyesāram Jagatadi Sthaneshu Eka Eva Ayam Atma. I am the Atman, I am the perceiver, I am the seer, I am the experiencer. The subject that is experiencing all these different things in waking, in dream and deep sleep states. And this is avibhijari, it is unchanging, because the same I perceives things in dream, in waking and deep sleep states. Now think of that bodha, the spuranam, behind that aham, I. What is that? Try to focus on, try to meditate on that. Tena anusaraniyam. You should do anusandhanam. What is that? What is that bodha surupa? Aham bodha surupa. Behind all this. Behind even the expression aham. That anusandhanam, that spiritual meditation will give you an idea there is a real aham behind this aham. The aham is the word shabda, but the real aham behind is the bodha spirit. You focus on that, then you can transcend body and complex. You can transcend emotions and feelings. You can transcend all pluralities. This is to be followed. Tena anusarani. Athava, another interpretation is given. Eka atma pratyeha saraha pramanam yasya turyadhyame tat turyam eka atma pratyesāram. So what is that? Eka eva atma pratyeha. That bodha jnanam, I, the real spirit about who the real I am, the essence of it. That's the only way for us to realize Turiya. Because the journey at this level will be the journey in silence and emptiness. It's a journey in the space of our own inner experience. It's a meditation. That Tena Anusandhanam or Anusaran, that Tena Anusarani, that should be you should do anusandhanam of that ekātma pratyaya. That is an intense meditative process. In contrast to this, people have taken the whole thing into some kind of an idea. Many of the anarchist Vedantins, speculators, I mentioned an academic who was some time ago, may have not mentioned in recorded lectures. They have often expressed all these ideas without referring to that anusandhanam aspect. Now my name is X. Oh no, but I am Brahman. So I become Brahman. It's not like you print an ID card, identification card, change our name, newspapers, not like that. It's a real inner spiritual journey. That is why Bhashyakara makes very clear, Eka eva ayam atma iti abhibhijari yaka pratyeka tena anusaraniyam. Anusaraniyam means anusandhanam, kartavyam means one should continuously practice meditation on this particular awareness. That's the idea behind. The Atma ityeva vasidali brihadaranyaka. This is a famous mantra. In the Upanishadic literature, there are Mahavakyas, Upamahavakyas. So Atma ityeva vasida. This is a Upamahavakyas. Remember, all these Atma ityeva vasida, all these mantras were taken by Mimamsakas as injunctions. I mean, you should practice this kind of upasana, then you get this result. So that is how they interpreted. But in came to Shankara, he said this is the implication is real, intense, spiritual concentration, meditative practice. Atma ityeva vasida iti sutehi, etc. So that is over. Okay. Now next. Antaprakitvadi sthani dharma pradishedha kudaha. So again we are referring to the mantra bhaga. Na antaprakyam, na vishprakyam, na bhedaprakyam, na prakyam, na prakyam, all these prakyam, all these mantras, 70 mantra, it is being referred to word after word, each word is being explained. Antaprakitvadi, antaprakyam, etc. Sthani dharma pradishedha. Sthani dharma Vishwa Taijasa Prajna. I mean, it makes it clear that Turiya is not the experiencer or the experienced in either in dream state, and the in dream state, not Taijasa. Vishwa is not Taijasa. Vishwa Taijasa Prajna or anything. Kataha. Prapancha Upashamam iti Jagadadis Dharma Bhava Uchiti. Prapancha Upashamam. Prapancha, the Drishya Prapancha we experience in waking state. So, this avasthatraya, that is Jagra, Swapna, Sushupti avasthas, don't exist in Turiya. So, therefore, Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna, etc. do not exist in Turiya. But they cannot be experienced without Turiya. Turiya is the adhara for this. But Turiya itself is distinct and different and transcends all these. That's the idea behind. Prapanchopasama means there is no chitta vritti, nothing. I mean, the waves merge with the ocean. That is, so the waves are concerned, the waves have ceased to be waves. They become one with the ocean. The waves are certainly the same as ocean, but waves are not really ocean. But there cannot be waves without ocean. Oh, that's true. But waves cannot be detached from the ocean. But we can say ocean is not the same as waves. So Vishwa Taijasa Prajna are like waves. They cease to be in the sense that the nama rupa, name, form. You know what is wave? Wave is a huge formation of water, maybe 30 feet, 40 feet during tsunami. Though actually there cannot be waves without ocean, but still waves are not ocean. And again, ocean also is not wave because ocean is much bigger. So, in other words, Jagra, Swapna, Sushupti, all these certainly are manifestations in the Turiya, which is the adhara of all this. Now, when you get Prapancha Upasama, what happens? Prapancha, these waves, Vishwa Taijasa Prajna, they become merged with the ocean. They don't disappear. They are connected with their own true identity as ocean. Prapancha Upashamam iti Jagadadi sthana bhava pradishedha uchyate. Ituriya. Atayeva shantam. Shantam here means no chitta vritti, no waves in the ocean. That is why in a small book it is called Drishya Viveka. That is there is a mantra, there is a sloga is there. The whole world All these experiences are like waves in the ocean. Srishti Nama Brahma Rupe Satchidananda Vastuni Abdo Fena Divas Sarva Nama Rupa Prasarana. Now if you read this line from Tripursi Shankaracharya only, but without this philosophical background, we may get to the impression it is a very simple thing. No. So what means Srishti Nama Brahma Rupa? What is Srishti? Srishti. What is Srishti? Kim Nama Srishti? Brahma Rupe Satchidananda Vastuni Abdho. So the ocean which is Abdho. Ocean which is Brahman is Satchidananda Vastuni. Abdho Fena Diva. Fena actually means the forms. Formations of water. Water drops in the ocean. Like waves. Sarva Nama Rupa Prasara. So these are all manifestations of the same ocean in terms of names and forms. When it's very big, we call it tsunami, big wave. When it's small little drops, you may call it forms. That's all. That's why Jagadasthana Samava Uchidi Ateva Shantam, no Chitta Spandanam, no Chitta Vritti, no waves. Shantam. Avikriyam. Avikriyam means, again the meaning, same sense. It doesn't have any external activity, no Chitta Vritti. Shivam, Shivam Mangalam. It is most auspicious dimension. Ananda Swarupa in that sense. Advaitam, Veda, Vigalpa, Rahitam. Because Advaita, when there is Advaita, there is nothing else. Veda, Vigalpa, Rahitam. That's means. Without any vikshipta. Chadurtham Turiyam Manyante. It is Chadurtham Turiyam. Meaning Vishwa, there is a Prajna, and then Turiyam. So you have to remember the old statement Kashapana was, I just remember the coin. Kashapana, let us say in modern times, maybe 1 rupee coin. In early days, there's 4 annas, Vishwa, 8 annas, Taidasa, Prajna is 75, I say, 3/4 of a rupee. 3 is the whole thing. So actually, the possibility, the potential of 1 rupee is present to 4 annas also. Because without 4 annas being involved, there cannot be a rupee. Because 4 annas being included something more, that's all. There cannot be a rupee without a 4 anna involved within it. Like that, certificate. So, the Gauriva, that explained that Bhashya could be kept in mind. So, Turiyamanyante, Patiyamana Padatraya Rupa Vailakshanyat. So, what is Patiyamana Padatraya means? These Padatraya, that is Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna, these Padatraya, Rupa Vailakshanyat, it is distinct and different and it transcends all these Vishwa, Taijasa levels. That is the particular Paramartha, the relative. This means Sa-Atma, that one's own true nature. This is Anusandhana. One should meditate on this Sa-Atma, Savijñeha. And that Atma, that Pratyaya is to be known so long as it has not been reached, so long as we have not attained to the Jnanam, it is something to be known. On the other hand, once you have attained it, it is not Jnanam, it is Vijnanam. So you should keep in mind the word Vijnanam, in so many hundreds of references and quotations, you find in Shankaracharya's comment. So if anybody tells you Vijnanam is a newly important material, absolutely wrong. Vijnanam is a central topic in so many Upanishad Bhashyas, Gita Bhashya, Brahma Sutra, everywhere. I gave you the example yesterday. Jnanam is like a boat. So I use the boat to get across the river. Nadyaha Bharago Navanna Munchadi Yatha Swadesha Gamani Swadhantriya Sati. You have freedom to go wherever you want once you have crossed the river. Before that, you are looking for a river to cross it. So, you need a boat. The boat is Jnanam. And once you get that Jnanam, and then you reach the experience dimension, it is Vijnana. Then you don't carry the boat on your head. So, that's the idea behind. So that's why it's Atma Savijñeya. It is something Vijñeya, to be known for those who are yet seekers, aspirants, sadhanas. During sadhana state, it is Vijñeya, to be known. During sadhya, means once you have already attained it, then you know it is that it is one with yourself. You become Vijnana itself. After attaining, you become a Vijnani. Before that, it is something Vijñeya, to be attained. That's the idea behind. Pratiyamana Sarpa Danda Bhuchitradi Vidhirikta Yatha Riju Tatha Tattamasi Ityadi Vakyartha Atma Drashto Drashta Nahi Drashtu Drishte Vibrilopo Vidyadi Ityadi Bhi Uktaha Yaha Savijñeya Vidhi Bhuda Purva Nirtya Jnadi Tvida Bhavaha. That's what I mean here. So, of course, the next paragraph is not visible here. Pratiyamana Sarpa Danda Bhujitradi Vidrikta Yatharaju. The Raju, you have already brought a light to that dim lit room, semi-dark room. Now you clearly understand it is Raju, it is of Sarpa. At that time, you really see the Sarpa. So the Raju in front of you, you realize it is only Raju. So, like that, once you realize that you are not Vishwa, Tajasa, Prajna, etc., you are not just the experiencer of external objects in waking state, or the experiencer of internal subtle things in dream state, or the experiencer of intense joy and restfulness without being aware of it in Susupti state. You are rather distinct and different from all these. You are Riju, your Atma, your Tiriya. Tatha, Tattvamasi Ityadi Vakyartha. You see, Tattvamasi is an example of the Prasankhya. So the Vedas required 8 repetitions. You see, 8 abhyasa, 8 repetitions and 1 upadesha. But then eventually he realized that he is not Sarpa, Bhujitra, etc. He is Raju, he is Turiya, he is Atma. That he realized. Adishto, Drashta, it's not seen but it is seer of everything. Nahi Drashtuhu, Drishtahi, Vivrilogo, Vidya, etc. Is more or less the same, it is found in Tikrasaniga, Ityadi Vikta. So Vikyayidi, Bhura Purvakate, Jnadi Tvida Bhava. Jnadi means once you realize this, not Dvaida, because there is no knower, there is no knowledge, and there is no known. That is Jnada, Jnaya, Ajnana. All these are transcended. This idea behind. Now you will be surprised if I tell you that this is the end of the essence of Mandukya. And according to the old tradition, Anandagiri and old-fashioned scholars will tell you, what is yet to be discussed is for Mandadhyaris. So this is a very funny point about it. Because after this, what we are going to discuss is something different. We are going to discuss the Omkara Vasana, that is Akara, Ukara, Makara. Just as we found this Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna, eventually to Turiya, like that Akara, Ukara, Makara, eventually to Amatra. Amatra is Turiya, Akara is Vishwa, Ukara is Taijasa, Makara is Prajna. And you have to remember of course, in the discussion of Omkara Upasana, we should remember, Omkara Upasana is to be practiced, but we should know one important thing when we discuss Omkara. Omkara, I discussed earlier at the beginning, Omkara has got 19 different meanings according to Panini's Dhatu. Sorry, a number of I discussed, you can listen to again because you can repeat it that. But one point that should be always kept in mind, Omkara is not that curved sign that you see somewhere. That is only Devanagari representation of Omkara. Omkara is not that curved thing. Omkara is a sound. It's important. How can you say Agaram, Ukaram, Agaram merge in that curved sound? No. The curved sound is only Devanagari representation of Omkara. It's just an incident in history because for the first time the Vedas, Veda Samhita came to be published in Devanagari script for the first time in large number because the largest segment of Indian population in terms of uses of different vernaculars is Hindi. So naturally, Rigveda Samhita came to be published in Devanagari Lipi, Devanagari script. But Devanagari is not any more connected to Sanskrit than any other vernacular in India. Omkara can be put in some kind of written form in any language, anywhere in the world. Omkara is only a sound. So, when you pronounce the word Omkara, Om, it's long, it is a Pluda, not Hraswa, it's Pluda. So, it should be pronounced as Pluda. And then that speech, that sound system is Omkara and not a written letter. The written letter can be in any language. You can write in Zulu, Swahili also you can write Omkara. I don't know the languages, So this is particularly, this when I first mentioned in the US, they were really shocked. Omkara, because they were meditating the curve meditating on it. You're meditating on a piece of plastic or wooden piece. Remember, that is not Omkara. You should meditate on the sound. It is a sound symbol, not a written visible symbol. So people write with golden thing and in that side they meditate only, this is Omkara, I want to attain this curved symbol. You don't attain that. Don't remember. So Akara, Ukara, Magara do not merge in that curved symbol. It is any carpenter will be able to make something like that. Or any language for that. It's an important thing to remember because when we discuss this from 8th mantra onward, that should be kept very much in mind. The Omkara Upasana is the next important topic. But before that, we will do some Karigasa here. In the text it follows that. Nivritte sarva dukkhanam ishana prabhuraveha advaita sarva bhavanam devasturyu vibhusmuta prajna taijasa vishwa lakshananam sarva dukkhanam Nivritte Ishana Triyatma. So, Prajna, Taijasa and Vishwa. That is the Aparamartha, the empirical experiences, this samsara, jagata experiences. They always will have some dukkha. Why dukkha? Because there is always manovrutti. Because why manovrutti? Agrahanam is there and agrahanam produces anyatha grahanam. Anyatha grahanam is the result of manovrutti or manaspandana. So, and that always creates some kind of dukkha. Dukkha should not be understood to mean what it normally means in dictionary, greed or sadness or sorrow. That's not the real implication of Buddha's Chattvari Arya Satyani. There is dukkha, the reason for dukkha, there is a way out of dukkha, and the way out of dukkha is nirvana. This is Buddha's Chattvari Arya Satyani, the four noble truths. Dukkha here means an awareness of the imperfection or incompleteness of something, accompanied by a search for something that is permanent, that is beyond this. So this becomes very clear. Buddha first he saw, when he was 28 years old, he was being taken for a ride in a chariot in Lumbini, the capital town of the place he was born. And there he saw a sick man, an old man, and a dead body being taken to cremation ground. So sickness, old age and death. There were shocking revelations to Buddha. He never thought such things did exist. And then he saw the face of a monk where everything was serene without any of these problems. So he wanted to find an answer for this. So he convinced that there are problems in the world as we live, as we understand, as we live it. And also there is a kind of imperfection or incompleteness. Something wanting. That's why people get old, they die, and also they get sick. So what's the real cause? And then he left his birthplace and walked maybe 1,000 miles, reached Bodh Gaya in today's Bihar. And there he sat under the tree. Ihasane Sishyadime Saridam Tugusti Mamsam Vilayam Siyadu Aprapi Siddhi Bhujirma Durlabham Naivasana Kayamatas Charishyade. This is the Nisvya Buddha, Shivghosha says, means. Oh no, maybe Lalita Vistara as well. So what it says is, so I won't get it from the seat without realizing the supreme truth, and then he had all this, the awareness of his own 543 previous life cycle, Jataka stories and so on. So dukkha means a kind of incompleteness or imperfection. Sarva dukkhanam nivartehe ishana. Because when you realize turiya, you realize perfection, permanence, completeness. So nivartehe Prabhu Ishana Turiya Atma Ishana Ityasya Padasya Vyakhyanam Prabhu iti. Means dukkha nivrittim prati prabhavati iti Prabhu. Dukkha nivrittim prati prabhavati. The Ishana, the Turiya, can help you to transcend dukkha, can put an end to your dukkha. Dukkha again, not sorrow. Buddha was not weeping and crying when he was walking from Lumbini to Bodh Gaya. So people cry and weep when they lose money, they do that. So there is a kind of wretchedness associated with that kind of feeling experience of a greedy man losing money. He becomes terribly miserable. That kind of misery is not there, was not there in Buddha. He was looking for something higher and transcendental. So there is a kind of inner joy when you seek something that you found to be wanting and you want something higher. So, but that's because you found what you already experienced was imperfect and incomplete. Vishwa, Taisa, Prajna were associated with dukkha. Because Vishwa, Taisa and Prajna are associated with birth, death and rebirth, samsara. And that is nothing but a miserable experience of this continuing wheel of the same worldly existence. So Turiya experience will put an end to this dukkha. Dukkha nivrittim prati prabhavati iti Prabhu. So that's why the Bhagavad also says, Ityarthana, tad vijnana nimitatva dukkha nivrittehi. So when you realize that Turiya, your own Turiya dimension, then what happens is your dukkha comes to an end. Now the Karika is being explained. Advaita Sarvabhudanam Devastudyo Vipusputa. So, before that, of course, there is Prabhu Avya is there. So, Avyaka, na veti, Suruvatva na vibhijarati na chyavade ityeta. Kutaha yasmat advaita sarvabhavanam sarpadinam rijju advaya satyacha. So, this Turiya has no Vya, change. It doesn't change. Like, Vishwa becomes Taijasa, Taijasa becomes Prajna. Again, it becomes Vishwa like that. So, this Jagrat, Sopna, Sushupti, waking, dream and dreamless sleep, deep sleep stage, they go on alternating, changing one from the other. Like the Mahamatsya, which is Sushupti, goes from one to another. So, Sushupti is the cause. Sushupti, as we are going to find very soon, Sushupti is associated with only Agrahana. Jagrat and Sopna are associated with not only Agrahana but Anyatha Grahana. Anyatha Grahana is the effect or karyam or the result of Agrahana. Agrahana means Tattva Pratibodha. Absence or lack of your awareness of your Turiya Jnana. That is Agrahana. And that creates the feeling that you are Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna, etc. So, Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna, all these bhavas, they are just like Mithya, like Sattva, Bhranti, etc. Similarly, there is nothing other than this Atman, because this Turiya, and Turiya never changes. This Turiya is actually, then coming later we find it is Devasurupa, that we find Sarvabhavanam, Sarpadinam, Rijju, Advaya, Satyacha. So all these Sarpa, Bhuchidra, Danda, all they come one, they change one after the other. But even Turiya, na Veyaha. Turiya doesn't change like Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna, etc. So quotation, Nahi Drashtu Drishtehi Vivilogona Vidyate Hridayita. This is the Ato. Rijusarpa Musatva means Mithyatvat. So Rijusarpa means Rajju appearing as Sarpa is Mithya. Rajusarpa means like Rajju which is now mistaken for Sarpa. That is Mithya. Why? The Sarpa did not exist in the Rajju before you came to the room. The Sarpa is not existing in the Rajju when you are mistaking for Sarpa. Sarpa will not exist even after you are free from that wrong notion. That is Pratibandhavadhu Traikadika Nishedha Pratiyogittum is Mithyatva. That is Prakasatmayiti's definition. Also another one is the Swasraya Nishtha Atyanta Bhava Pratiyogittam Mithyatva. That's the definition that to Pratipika. It's an important book by Chitsukacharya. They are all post-Shankaracharya Advaitis. And that Sarpa Pratiti Sarpa is really distinct and different from the real thing. Sarviviktatvam va Mithyatvam. That is a definition from Nyaya Deepavali, which is a book, which is a work by Ananda Bodha. So, this Mithya Sarpa, somebody called Rajusarpa. So you remember when you read the word Rajusarpa, you know here what is meant is Rajju, which is now being mistaken for a Sarpa. That's how I get it. So that never exists in the past, present and future. And that never exists in the very adhisthana in which it is wrongly seen, to which it is wrongly attributed. That is Swasayadhisthadhyata bhava. the Sarpa is Atyanta Bhava. In the very Adhara, in the very Adhisthana, that is the Jew, in which you wrongly assume it is existing. It never exists, Atyanta Bhava. And is totally different from the Jew. The Sarpa that you have in your mind, Sarpa Pratiti. That is Sarvivikkatu. Now remember one thing is, Ramanujacharya wrote this Sri Bhashyam. In Sri Bhashyam, that is Brahma Sutra, Bhashyam of Brahma Sutras, the early portion is very remarkable because it includes Maha Purvapaksha and Maha Siddhanta. So it's not in a very organized manner like 1, 2, 3 like that, but he gives a list of 7 untenables. Untenable is an English term, maybe not fully logically accurate, but the closest that you can find in English language. Untenable means Anubhavati. Upapatti means something that can be logically defensible. That is Upapatti. Upapatti means logic, yukti. Anubhavati means something that cannot be logically defended, cannot be logically assumed, which can do false from a logical perspective. So Saptavidha Anubhavati Vada, 7 untenables. That Ramanuja brings in as Maha Purvapaksha in the Sri Bhashya, and also comes in Vedanta Sangrika, which is much smaller book than Sri Bhashya. Ramanuja himself wrote that. So there he gives a list, he called Anivachaniya Anubhavati, Asraya Anubhavati, Pramana Anubhavati, then Vishesha Anubhavati, Nivarta Anubhavati, Nivatya Anubhavati, Tirodhana Anubhavati. The chronology will be different. So all these opposite views, for example, whether avidya is brahmasaya or jivasaya, asaya anubhavati, anivachaniya, this world is neither absolutely real nor absolutely unreal. Sadasata nadhiyarnatva mithyat, which is asked, it is anivachaniya khyati, that you find Panchapatika by Padmapada. So it is called, so like that is called Anivachaniya Anubhavati. Means Advaiti's definition or understanding of this world as being neither absolutely real nor absolutely unreal is not logically tenable, not logically defensible, not credible. That's the essence of it. Like that, when you get Brahmajnanam, that avidya, mityatam, it disappears, nivartaka anubhavati. So that also is not acceptable. And then it will be removed, nivartya anubhavati. Pramana anubhavati means there cannot be any pramana. Maybe the Brahman is sarvat pramana, atila sarvat pramana avati. Like that, mityatam, this avidya also cannot be really explained. When did the snake come to the room? When did it disappear? He cannot have replied, there's never came there and he didn't go there. That's why Prapancho Idividyela Nivatena Sarvasya. There is a karika here. If there is world, it has to go away, but there is no world. There is no sarpa. So sarpa cannot go away. So all these are to be understood when you expound these ideas. So this is an important thing to remember. So here, Ato Rejusappavat Musatvat. So what it means is everything that you find in the waking, dream and deep sleep stage, Vishwa Taisa Prajna, they are essentially superimpositions. Like Rejusappa. Rejusappa means Sarpatvam, Sarpa Pradidi superimposed upon Reju. That's the meaning here. स एष देवः द्योतनात् तुल्यः चतुर्थः विभु व्यापी स्मृतः. And that Turiya is Dyotana Swarupa, means it is Bodhaspiranam, it is self-effulgent, self-revealed. So Turiya is not revealed by somebody something. Turiya is self-revealed. When the wrong notions are gone, the Rajju is self-revealed. The Rajju doesn't require anyone else to reveal it. It is self-revealed. Because the moment you bring light, what happens? The connection between Rajju and darkness is gone because light has come. When the darkness has gone, then what happens is the fact that it is Rajju is self-revealed. That's why Dyotanath. So you have to remember, you have to look at the Karika. Devaha. That's me. Deva Dyotana. That's come from Nirukta. Nirukta, Yaska style of interpreting. Remember, Shankaracharya closely follows Nirukta Gaya. Devo Danadva, Dyotanadva, Deepanadva, Disthanava Bhavati. This is Nirukta style. Deva Kasmat. How Deva Shabda comes. And Vaishwanara Kasmat. Vishwanara Naidiri Vaishwanara. So why this word is used? What is the justification for Deva Shabda? Or Vaishwanara? Indra Kasmat. Like that. This is the style of Niruktam. Niruktam is actually, in a way, it is linked to an earlier book, that is Vaidika Nikhandu. So Yaska wrote this based on Vaidika Nikhandu. It preceded Yaska. It wrote 6th century, 7th century BC. So Sa Esha Deva Dyotanath. So meaning is taken from Nirukta. Dyotana means it self-reveals. That's the meaning of Jyotisham Jyoti in the Janaka Yajnavalkya Samvada. Finally, Aditya Jyoti, Chandra Jyoti, Agni Jyoti, Vak Jyoti, and then Atma Jyoti. All other lights are borrowing their faculty to reveal things from Atma Jyoti. Atma Jyoti is the only real Jyoti, because its nature is Dyotana. I think those who are interested, we can read Janaka Yajnavalkya Samvada. One day Janaka is sitting in his court, Yajnavalkya comes, Janaka asking the question, Ki Jyotirayam Purushayidi, O Yajnavalkya, Ki Jyotirayam Purushayidi. Yajnavalkya, endowed with what light does a person, a man, go around, does his duties, comes and sits, like that? The answer is Aditya Jyoti. The question again continues. Aditya Astamida Yajnavalkya. Kim Jyotirayam. So when the sun is set in the west, what Jyoti? Chandra Jyoti. Aditya Astamisi, Chandramasi Astamidi, Aditya is gone, set in the west. So also Chandra, moon also has gone. Kim Jyotirayam Purusha. They mean Agni Jyoti. Then Agni also gone. Then Vak Jyoti. And all the other 4 Jyotis are gone, Atma Jyoti. Because without Atma Jyoti, you won't be able to, your word, speech won't be able to reveal anything. Eyes won't be able to reveal anything, even if there is sunlight or moonlight or candle. Nothing will be possible without Atma Jyoti. So Atma Jyoti is only Jyoti. That's why the Turiya Atman is called Esha Dyotanath, self-effulgent. Because Atma Jyoti reveals other things, it also self-reveals. It reveals itself, it reveals other things. Other lights can only reveal other objects. Atma Jyoti is self-effulgent, it also reveals other objects. That's why sa esha deva dyodana tudyaha sadutthaka vibhu vyapi. Vyapi means is sarva vyapi. It is smutaka. This is how jnanis, knowledgeable people, have expounded. This is another important point to remember. Now, one Purvapaksha objection. Vishwadhinam samanya vishesha bhavo nirupidi tridayathatmya badharnartham. This is important point. Now, because this is not a Purvapaksha, this is a statement. Now, to clearly analyze and to explain the true nature of Turiya, the Samanya Vishesha, means the generic and specific characteristics of Vishwa Tajasa Prajna is revealed here. Karya Karana Baddhautau Ishyedi Vishwadayasu Prajna Karana Baddhastu Dau Tau Turidena Siddhithaka means Vishwa Tajasa Yoga Ubhayabaddhatum, that is Samanya. There are certain common things. Ubhayabaddhatu means certain factors, certain characters that bind them together. That is Vishwa Tajasa. And Prajnasya Karanamatra Baddhatu. In Vishwa Tajasa, there is Agrahanam, because in Jagra state and Swapna state, you are not aware of your Turiya Jnanam, Turiya identity. So there is Agrahanam. Agrahanam means Tattva Pradibodha, absence of awareness of Tattva reality. It is Samanya. Samanya means the binding common characteristic. Prajnasya Karanamatra Baddhatva means in Prajna there is only Agrahanam, which is Karana. Karyam Kriyati Phalabhavaha. So remember, the reason why the Karmani Prayoga Kriyati is used, a passive expression used, to indicate that all these are effects. That very Karmani Yoga, Karmani Prayoga is used. Karanam Karoti iti Bija Bhava. Katra Vyutpatti Bija Bhava. The Bija Bhava is Agrahanam. So what happens is, Karyam means something that is produced, that is done, that is phala, effect. That is Vishwa and Tajasa. Karanam is Bija Bhava, it is seed form, the causal form. It means, what does he say? Tattva Agrahana Anyatha Grahanabhyam Bija Phala Bhavabhyam To Yudokto Vishutayasu Bettu Sangrahido Ishyede. That means Bija Bhava means Tattva Agrahana. That is absence of awareness of the reality. On the other hand, the effect Phala Bhava is Anyatha Grahanam. Vishwa and Tajasa are bound by not only Agrahanam but also Anyatha Grahanam. While in waking state and dream state, you are not only unaware of your Turiya nature, but you also superimpose plurality, nanatham on everything. That's why you see so many things. You are not only not aware of the reality, but you also produce in your mind many alternate realities. That is Anyatha Grahanam. Avarana is there, Vikshepa also is there. Avarana and Vikshepa are both active and functioning in Jagra Swapna state. I mentioned at the very beginning, one can never have a dream experience which is totally detached or separate from anything that has happened in waking state. So, whatever unfulfilled dreams and expectations we have in waking state, those dreams and expectations are fulfilled in dream state. Sorry, whatever we have some kind of unfulfilled expectations in waking state, they are fulfilled in dream state. A child will be taken by his father along a street with lot of sweet salts. He asks his father to buy and he wants to eat it. But father denies, and that night when the child dreams, he may dream himself eating, helping to all kinds of sweets. So this is natural for all human beings. It's not necessary. There is no strict, unbreakable connection between waking and dream experiences. No. But waking state experiences certainly influence dream experiences. It doesn't mean that every dream experiences will be replayed or re-experienced in dream. Not necessarily. But whatever dreams you have, they are the subtle manifestations of waking state experience. As I recall, the book, it is Sukshma and waking state is Sthula. So that's why Prajnastu Bija Bhavenaiva Vedha. In Prajna there is only Tattva Agrahana, which is the causal dimension. Tattva Apradibodha Matramevahi Bijam Prajnatya Nimittam. So in Prajna state, this is only Turiya here means Tattva means Turiya. Turiya Apradibodha Matram. He eva Bijam. So the only cause, the only explanation for this experience of plurality in dream and waking state is the absence of Turiya Pradibodha, Turiya Jnana. Tataha Dau Bija Phala Bhavo Tattva Agrahana Nidha Agrahane Turiye Nasityade. Nasityada is they don't exist in these Tattva Agrahana, Tattva and Tattva Anyatha Agrahana. Tattva Agrahana and Anyatha Agrahana both are non-existent in Turiya state. Turiya transcends all this. So na vidyete na sambhavata ityartha. Now katham punaha karanabadhatvam prajnasya turiye va tattva agrahana anyatha agrahana lakshano baddho na siddhire yasma. I think we will conclude right now. So just give a brief picture of what we all discussed just in a few minutes. First, Turiya, Mandukya Upanishad has got 12 mantras and Kariga 215 Karigas. And Kariga is just a short description, commentary in verse of any technical book that is called a Kariga. And then, of course, a few more explanations may be necessary in this context for your understanding. There are different types of commentaries for these books. Kariga is there, then the Vartigam is there, Frutti is there, Bhashyam is there, Tika is there, Tippani is there, all these are there. The tradition is Sutram and Bhashyam. This is how it begins. So, Sutrartho Varnideyatra Vakyam Sutransarivihi. So, Patani se Varninde Bhashyam Bhashyavido Viduhu. What is Bhashyam? Bhashyam is nothing but a description of Sutrartham. And it continuously follows a particular chronological order. Along with that, new ideas also will be propounded and a philosophical system may be established in this Bhashya, but its main purpose is Sutrartho Varnideyatra. That is a sutra. What is sutra? Alpaksharam asadhigdam saravat vishwagamukham astobham anavadyam cha sutram sutravido. What is sutram? Sutram is alpaksharam. It should be just a few words. You know, Panini Sutra, the last Panini Sutra is A. There's just two words. That's last Sutra of Panini. Viddhiradi, Adeguna, Halandyam begins. And then it ends with A. And in the Yoga Sutra, Adha Dharmanusasana. Atha Yoganusasana. Dharmanusasana means in Mimamsa, in Jaimini. Atha Yoganusasana means Padaji Yoga Sutras. Atha Brahma Jijnasa in Vedanta, Badarayana Sutra. So, Sutra can be very long, Sutra can be very short also. So, it should be mostly Alpaksharam Asandigdham. Without any doubt, Vishwakam could be capable of being interpreted in so many different ways in a comprehensive manner. And then Vritti. Vritti is a smaller book. Suvistaradara Vacho Bhashabhuda Bhavatume. This is used not only in Vritti and also in Bhashya both. A brief explanation of an original book. That is an example of Vritti. A very brief explanation. Bhashya can be very elaborate. Samshuptasya pyado saiva vakyasya artha giriyasaha. Suvistaradara vacho bhashabhuda bhavantume. Bhashya can be very, very elaborate. But Vritti can be very brief, a brief explanation of an original text. Vartigam is a long critique of an original work, like a Bhashya. Sureshwara Bhashya Vartigam, Taittiriya Bhashya Vartigam. Vartigam written by Shankaracharya's Bhashya, Manasollasa Vartigam, etc. Sureshwara, Nikshanamurti Stotras. Tika is a very, very small, like a footnote, explanatory notes, or a Bhashya, Anandagiri Tika, on Upanishad Bhashyas, Gita Bhashya, so on. Tippani is also like a gloss, a footnote, a small book. So, Kariga is our context. Sankshipta Sutra Bhavartha Sujaka Sloka Kariga. Kariga is Kariga, Sankhya Kariga, Mandya Kariga, Madhyamika Kariga, etc. Sankshipta should be condensed. Sutra Bhavartha. It's like Sutra, normally it would be in poetic form, verses. Bhavartha Sujaka gives the implied essence of the subject. In Kariga. That's why Kariga always needs a Bhashya. Actually, literally speaking in terms of the words used, Mandukara is very simple. But the subject is complicated. Because the theme discussed in Mandukya Upanishad, on which this Mandukya is written as a commentary, that is a very abstract subject, so it requires Bhashya, that's all. So I think I have tried to give a bird view of this, at least one part of this Mandukya text. And as for Omkara Vasana, it begins later, after this 7th mantra onwards, Omkara Vasana begins as an entirely. That's again is a deeply, it is a continuation of the same thing from a different angle, from the Upasana standpoint. This is Vichara, but it was Vichara, then Upasana. Those who are not fully able to grasp at the Vichara level, they need Upasana, Dhyana. So Omkara Dhyana. For that, the next mantras will be, you said your next mantras will be useful. So you can try later. Thank you. Namaskar. Now if there is any doubt, you can ask. In general, we have some time. Yeah. Any doubt? Most welcome. So, thank you very much. Anything? No. Fine. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.